If you love learning bridge strategy through real game stories, hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
Welcome. Today, we're diving into a fascinating puzzle from the Bridge and Biscotti Club. It's a story about how one tiny decision created a massive point swing. And here's the thing, it wasn't about luck, and it wasn't really about skill. It was all about speed. So, picture this. You've got two different games of bridge going on in separate rooms, but at the same time. The crazy part? The players in both rooms are dealt the exact same hands. Everything is identical, the cards, the vulnerability, you name it. But the final scores? Well, they're not even in the same ballpark. And when I say not in the same ballpark, I really mean it. Just look at this. Team A puts a very respectable 680 points on the board. But Team B, playing with the very same cards, brings home an incredible 1430. That is a 750-point difference on a single hand. So that leads us to the big question, how is that even possible? What on earth could create such a massive swing? Well, believe it or not, the answer lies in the tempo of the bidding, and we're going to break it all down. Okay, so let's dive in by looking at room A first. In this room, a player named Timmy is holding a really nice hand. He and his partner picked a path that was fast, for sure, but as you're about to see, it was also a very limited one. So Timmy starts things off by bidding 1 heart, showing his great suit. His partner, Andrew, comes back with a bid called Jacoby 2NT. Now, for those of you who follow the game, you already know this is a huge signal. It forces them to at least game, and it basically says, hey partner, I've got fantastic heart support. Tell me more about your hand. And here we go. This is it. This is the fork in the road. In response to that powerful question from his partner, Timmy makes a direct jump to 4 clubs. This bid is a textbook example of a convention we call fast arrival, and it's the single most important moment in this room. So what is Timmy actually saying with that jump? He is sending a crystal clear message. He's pretty much shouting, partner, I've got a minimum hand here. I have zero interest in trying for a slam. Let's just pick our game and stop right there. He is effectively hanging up the phone, ending the conversation. And Andrew gets that message loud and clear. He signs off in 4 hearts, they actually make 2 extra tricks, and they walk away with 680 points. It's a good score. It's a solid result. But, as we're about to find out, they left a ton of potential just sitting on the table. All right, now let's hop over to room B and see how this all played out differently. Here we've got Mildred's, and she's holding the exact same South cards as Timmy. She gets the exact same Jacoby 2NT bid from her partner, George, but her response? Completely different. Instead of jumping and ending the conversation like Timmy did, Mildred takes a much slower, more descriptive route. She bids 3 diamonds. Now, this tells her partner she is a singleton diamond, which is a super useful piece of information. And, crucially, it keeps the bidding at a nice low level, which invites more discussion. And that one little bid, it changes the entire story of this hand. While Timmy's fast bid basically said, I'm done, Mildred's slow bid says the complete opposite. It's a signal that says, hey, George, the shape of my hand might be way more powerful than my points suggest. Let's keep this conversation going. And this slide just perfectly shows the beautiful conversation that happened next. First, Mildred's opens the door. Then, George makes what's called a Q-bid, showing he has control of the diamond suit. Well, that gives Mildred's all the confidence she needs to ask about aces. And when George shows he has 2 of them, the path to a slam is wide open. So they confidently bid their way to 6 hearts, make it without breaking a sweat, and score a whopping 1430 points. The exact same cards, but a totally different world in the outcome, all because Mildred's chose patience over speed. So what was the big secret here? It all comes down to this one powerful idea, the principle of fast versus slow arrival. Let's unpack exactly what that means and why it was worth 750 points on this particular day. Just let that number sink in for a second. 750 points. That's what separated these two teams. It wasn't about getting lucky. It was all about the value of information, the value of keeping a strategic conversation going instead of cutting it short. This table just lays it all out so clearly. You can see the domino effect from that one decision. Look at that first row. A jump to shut things down in room A versus a descriptive bid to open things up in room B. That leads directly to the next line. One says minimum, the other shouts extras. And from there, you can see how it affects the bidding space, the final contract, and of course, that 750-point difference in the score. So let's put some simple definitions on these ideas. Fast arrival, on the left, is basically a jump that says, I've got the bare minimum for what I've promised, and that's it. It's designed to end the conversation. Slow arrival, on the other hand, is all about using those lower-level descriptive bids to show your hand has extra potential, inviting your partner to keep digging. We've all been there, right? The auction is game forcing. You're looking at a hand that just feels like it could take every single trick, but your partner's bidding has been, well, let's just say a little bit modest. So how do you show all that extra strength without accidentally blasting off into some hopeless slam? It's a classic bridge headache for sure. Okay, so let's really dive into this. The key here is to make a little mental shift. We need to stop thinking of this as a problem and start seeing it as a puzzle. You see, once you're guaranteed to be in a game contract, the whole goal of the auction, it just changes completely. Exactly. You're no longer asking if we should get to game. The new questions are, okay, how much further should we actually go? And how do we find out without getting way too high? This, right here, is where the whole concept of bidding tempo becomes your absolute secret weapon. So, how do we solve this puzzle? Well, the answer lies in a modern principle that, I'll be honest with you, might feel completely backward at first. It's all about the speed, the tempo, at which you get to where you're going. And there it is. If you've got a minimum hand, you race to the finish line. But if you have extra values, you take the scenic route. Let's break down why the seemingly backward idea is so incredibly effective. What's really fascinating here is the mental shift it takes. Our old instinct, it tells us that a big jump shows a big hand, right? You're excited. But the modern principle says no. In a forcing auction, a big jump actually shows a minimum hand that wants to shut down the conversation. The real strength is shown in the tempo, not just the level of the bid. So let's dig into that first part of the principle, going fast. This is a concept we call fast arrival, and it's basically your way of putting up a very clear stop sign for your partner. Think of it like a text message. A slow, descriptive bid is like a long text asking a bunch of questions. But fast arrival? That's a one-word text. Confirmed. It gets the point across and signals that, you know what? This conversation is over. You're taking the most direct path to game, and that's it. So the crucial point here is that a jump to game in a forcing auction isn't some shout of excitement. No, it's a very specific, disciplined message. It's saying, partner, this is all I've got. I'm doing my job to get us to game. But please don't get any heroic ideas about slam unless you have an absolute monster yourself. And here's the really clever part of the strategy. By jumping, you are intentionally eating up valuable bidding space. You're making it much harder for either of you to exchange more information. And that's a feature, not a bug. It's a preemptive strike to shut down a slam exploration that you know is probably going nowhere. Okay, so that's what we do with a minimum hand. But what about that monster hand we talked about right at the beginning? Well, now we're going to see how the total opposite approach, slow arrival, is how you send out the invitation to something bigger. So if fast arrival is that one-word text, slow arrival is the text that asks, hey, what do you think about this? It keeps the conversation going. Instead of just jumping straight to 4 spades, you might make a lower-level bid in a new suit, maybe show a control, and invite your partner to share a little more info. This is your green light. A slow, bid below game signals that you have more than you promised earlier. You're essentially telling your partner, hey, I've got something extra over here, and I want to save some room for us to figure out just how good our combined hands really are. And really, this is the bedrock of good slam bidding. By going slow first, you signal your extra strength. Then, by keeping the bidding low, you create all this space for both of you to show controls, your aces and kings. This cooperation is how you pinpoint which slam is best, or maybe even discover that, yeah, Game is the right spot after all. This table just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Fast arrival shows a minimum, and its whole purpose is to sign off. Slow arrival shows extra strength, and its purpose is to invite your partner to cooperate and maybe explore a slam. It's simple, it's clear, and it is unbelievably effective when you and your partner are on the same page. Now, this is a really powerful tool, but like any tool, you gotta know how to use it right. So let's talk about a few common misunderstandings just to make sure you're always sending your partner the right message. Okay, these are the traps you really have to watch out for. The biggest one, by far, is that old habit of thinking a jump just shows excitement. And remember, and this is a big one, this whole logic only applies in a game-forcing auction. If the auction isn't forcing, a jump to game is just a straightforward bid to play there. That's it. And hey, a quick but really important clarification. This is different from what's called a picture jump. A picture jump is a super specific bid that describes a very particular hand shape and point range, like a splinter bid that shows a singleton. Fast arrival is more general. It just says, hey, I'm minimum for what I've shown so far, without getting into all those details. I honestly cannot stress this enough. None of this works. None of it. If you and your partner are not on the same page. These are not universal laws of bridge. They are partnership agreements. A quick 5-minute chat before you play can save you from so many disasters at the table. So here's a simple little checklist you can run through in your head at the table. First and foremost, is the auction forcing? If the answer is yes, then you evaluate your hand. Is it a minimum or do I have extras? Based on that, you decide if you want to go fast to stop or go slow to invite. It's a totally logical process that's going to lead you to much better contracts. Please let it be this mantra. In game-forcing auctions, the speed tells the story. Minimums go fast, extras go slow. Just say to yourself before you make your next bid in one of these spots. Yeah, the old way of thinking was super straightforward. If you have a fantastic hand, you shout it from the rooftops. You bid high and you bid fast to show just how strong you are. This was known as a picture bid because you were literally painting a picture of overwhelming power, telling your partner, don't worry, I'm ready to take charge here. And this table right here, this is where it gets really interesting. It shows just how completely that thinking has been turned on its head. Traditionally, yeah, a higher bid meant more strength. Simple. But in modern bridge, experts have something called a forcing auction. That's just a situation where you and your partner have already agreed you're going to a high contract. And in that specific context, the logic completely flips. A fast bid now means you have the bare minimum required, while a slow, careful bid, well, that's what signals you've got extra power. But why? Why is this slow, space-saving approach so much better? Let's unpack the logic behind it, because it's actually pretty brilliant when you see it laid out. I love this analogy. The best way to understand bidding space is to just think of it as conversation time or airtime. Every single bid you make is like a word in a sentence. If you jump straight to the end of the conversation, 4 hearts, well, you've just used up all the airtime. A really great hand needs that time to describe its aces, its short suits, all its specific strengths. Just look at this. On the left, with that minimum hand, you make a fast jump straight to the end. 4 hearts. Boom. Conversation over. But look at the right. With extra strength, instead of jumping, you make a slow, probing bid. 3 diamonds. You're telling your partner, hey, I have more to say. Let's talk. That one tiny difference in tempo completely opens up a new world of possibilities. Okay, so that's the theory. Now let's see how this stuff actually works at the table. You know all those bidding conventions you use? They're really all just different ways of expressing these 3 core ideas. Let's break it down. Now, this table is packed with conventions that are really just examples of fast arrival. Let's just zoom in on a classic. Jacoby 2NT. Your partner bids it, showing a game-forcing raise. Now it's your turn as the opener. If you then jump directly to 4 of the major, what are you saying? You're showing a dead minimum hand for your opening bid. You're taking that express train, using fast arrival to sign off. Simple as that. This is it. This is the single most important rule to tattoo on your brain. If the auction is already forced to game, the fastest route there always, always, always shows the weakest possible hand for the bidding so far. It's a sign-off, full stop. Now let's flip the coin. These conventions are all about slow arrival. And the ultimate example here has to be cue bidding, right? When you start showing off your aces and kings below the game level, you are practically screaming, hey, I have extras over here. Partner, tell me about your controls. Let's see if a slam is out there. You are deliberately taking that scenic route. So here's the part that feels a little backward at first. Real strength doesn't just bolt for the finish line. It takes its time. It uses the bidding space to describe its features. Because, more information leads to better contracts, especially those juicy slams. And then we have our picture jumps. Look at the descriptions here. It's all about shape, suit quality, and playing strength. A splinter bid isn't about having a minimum or a maximum point count. It's about painting a super specific picture of a singleton or a void with great trump support. These jumps are descriptive, not just, quantitative. And that's the key distinction to get here. With a picture jump, you're giving your partner a snapshot of your hand. The point count might be low, sure, but the playing strength is high because of that beautiful shape. You're handing your partner a blueprint to help them evaluate the whole deal. Okay, deep breath. Now we get to the real heart of it, the thing that solves that mystery we started with. The philosophy behind a bid isn't fixed. It can change, and change dramatically, depending on the context of the auction. This is the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. And boom, here it is. Look at that top row. When the auction is not forcing, a jump from 1 spade to 4 spades is a picture jump. It's preemptive. It says, partner, I have long trumps but a weak hand, let's shut the opponents out. But if the auction is already game forcing, say after a 2/1 response, that exact same jump to 4 spades becomes fast arrival. It's a sign-off that says, partner, we have to get to game and I have the absolute minimum, let's please stop right here. Same bid, different context, completely opposite meaning. So the big question is, how do you actually use this stuff and stop having those terrible misunderstandings with your partner? The goal isn't just to understand this yourself, but to be on the exact same page. Think of this table as your partnership's new cheat sheet. In a game-forcing auction, fast arrival means minimum. Slow arrival means extras. And picture jumps? They're special cases you absolutely must agree on beforehand. This philosophical approach is so much simpler than trying to memorize a million different rules, isn't it? So here's the big idea I want to leave you with. Stop treating your bidding system like a giant list of rules to memorize. Start thinking of it as a language. Conventions are just the vocabulary, the words. These 3 philosophies, they're the grammar that gives the words their meaning. And when you understand the grammar, you can speak the language. Okay, now that we've got that down, let's get back to the club. So here's the crucial thing to remember. Neither one of these is always right or always wrong. The real skill is knowing when to be fast and when to be slow. So what do we take away from all this? It's pretty simple, really. First, think of fast arrival as a break. It just stops everything. Second, slow arrival is an invitation. It keeps the door open. And the big lesson here is that bidding isn't just about what you say, it's about the timing, about how fast you say it. And it all kind of boils down to this really elegant little saying. Fast hands arrive fast, strong hands take their time.
Subscribe our channel for more videos.